Greetings, YouTube. I recently discovered that there is a bacteria in the world that can consume certain byproducts from nylon. So I'm going to go look at the wiki on this thing. Nylon-eating bacteria. And I'm going to pronounce this completely wrong, and I apologize to everyone out there who's going to be cringing as I destroy this Latin-like taxonomical term. Paenarthrobacter Urofasciinus K172. At least I got that part right. Properly known as nylon-eating bacteria, is a strain of Pantherobacteria urofasciinans that can digest certain byproducts of nylon 6 manufacture. It uses a set of enzymes to digest nylon, popularly known as nylonase. Now, why am I talking about this thing? Why is the concept of a nylon-eating bacteria interesting to me? Well, first of all, it's also terrifying, because if they start to evolve to the point where they can start really consuming our plastics, we're in trouble. But the idea that a biological organism, a bacteria, has evolved to consume nylon is both fascinating to me, just from a scientific point of view, but also fascinating to me as the fact that there's absolutely 100% no way that creationists can explain this. Nylon was invented in 1937. God did not make nylon. Dudes in lab coats made nylon. How does creationism tackle a creature that we know exists, that we can poke in a petri dish if we want to? I don't necessarily know if that would be good for you to poke this particular bacteria with your finger. It exists. It exists because we produce something, and as the line goes, life finds a way. We have provided an environment, and then something has moved into that environment to take advantage of that niche that we have created. We created an environment that had not been populated by anything, which means any organism that can populate that environment we had created has no competition. And if a creature has no competition, it is going to thrive. Now, eventually, something may evolve to eat the nylon-eating bacteria, because the environment that the bacteria has moved into, which was virgin territory, is now populated with meaty things called bacteria, something may want to eat. So we may have created an actual dynamic environment at some point in the future. Who knows? I'm hoping scientists are not working on a predator for the nylon-eating bacteria, because that's even more terrifying. That's the stuff that makes science fiction movies, science fiction horror movies for that matter. And this whole concept is just delightful to me. It's like little bubbles of champagne in my brain, and I'm like, nylon-eating bacteria, creationists are gonna hate this. Because what do they do with it? How do they take out their creationist wand and make this one go away? Because I don't think they can. How are they going to explain this? They're going to say, well, God created nylon because he wanted man to have nylon, and then God created a bacteria that eats nylon? That's not a great elevator pitch. Really, it isn't. So yes, I find this whole idea delightful. I despise the whole creationist narrative, not because it is bad religion, because it's bad science. If you're ever trying to use science to replace religion, or religion to replace science, you're doing it wrong. I've said this 1,000 times. I firmly believe that there is no dichotomy between mythos and logos unless you create one. They are two different facets of the same gem of reality. They let us look at reality from different perspectives. I'm a theist. I'm wearing an ankh. I have my pentagram on at the moment. The chain broke. And I'm also a big proponent of science. I love science. I have been awash in a sea of scientific knowledge for as long as I can remember. I have taken deep dives into many aspects of scientific research because it just enthralls me. It titillates me. It pulls me in and delights me. But then again, so does the exploration of my theistic experiences and those of others. It's just a different way of looking at the world, and it's a completely different feel when I'm talking about it or reading about it or pondering it. But this particular one right here, this is going to be a great lance in the battle against creationism. And remember, intelligent design theory is also creationism. Don't let anybody bully on that one. There's absolutely no difference between intelligent design theory and creationism. They've just stripped off the word creationism, slapped a new label on the thing, and tried to squeeze it into our schools because they are terrified if people look at the world in a different way than they do. They are terrified if our children learn about something that isn't in their holy book, which is sad on so many levels. To cut yourself off from the beauty and complexity of science, the just enrapturing idea of all that complexity in life and the depth of physics and astronomy and chemistry, and it's just so wonderful. Um, and I can't imagine how anyone isn't enthralled by it like I am. That's always depressed me when I realize that there are people that can't just hop onto a topic and dive in and immerse themselves until they are simply awash in it. It's so much fun. I have so much fun when I do that, and it makes me kind of sad that there are people out there that don't get to experience that because they've cut themselves off from it. Don't do that. Don't cut yourself off from the world of logos just because you are a firm theistic believer. And for all those people out there who are hardcore anti-theists, remember Newton, the really important dude that helped us to like begin a foundation of scientific research? He was an alchemist. And look at all the great thinkers in science who were deeply religious. They were able to square that circle. I think you can too. Um, so let's talk about nylon-eating bacteria. Let's talk about how we can use it against creationists in some delightful ways. Yeah, I could have so much fun with this. So yeah, this task just titillates me. I'm really happy that I now know about it, and I hope that all of you go out there and can use this in the future and point out that I don't think God did this one.